the the Buffalo Bills tend to do things the Buffalo way, and it is never how anyone else wants to do it. And they taught me some patience. Let's just say that much. They taught me a lot of patience out of the first round, and they absolutely capitalized in the second round with wide receiver Keon Coleman out of Florida State and Cole Bishop out of Utah for safety. I don't know if he's going to be like a Poyer type guy, but he does show a lot of spread. The way he's very fluid in the secondary. Keon, Florida State just capitalized with him with Jordan Travis. He's a big guy. I think he only had 2 drops his entire time. He had like 13 or 11 touchdowns.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Beard Zone podcast. My name is David. I'm one of the hosts. I got Carlos, Theo, and Scooter here, and we are all here to break down some draft grades for some of the teams that we saw maybe do pretty good or maybe not do so well. But we're here to break down a few teams. But fellas, how are we doing tonight?
Doing great, man. Another great day on the Beard Zone podcast. Feeling good. Good to be here with you boys, and I'm just excited to get into this, man. Like the draft was wild. The draft was definitely wild, as everyone experienced. So it's gonna be cool to break this down with you boys.
Definitely excited, man. Just ready to be back, ready to talk some more football. Some of these teams did all right, and some very questionable on some of at least the first couple picks. So yeah, I'm ready for it, man. Let's roll.
Still talking to my psychiatrist about pick eight.
Right there,
Figuring out what the psychology was on that move, but
Yeah, I mean, but that's the excitement of the NFL draft. Obviously, I will have to say though, there weren't as many trades as I was hoping for on night one.
Right?
But I think Atlanta really just kind of messed everyone up when they were like, let's just take
Yeah.
picks.
So, real quick, the last time they did something like that, they picked Mike Vick. The same scenario. Their older quarterback was 35 years old. They picked Mike Vick in the first round. Their quarterback now is 35 years old. They just picked Mike Penix. They're both left-handed. So,
yeah,
it is what it is.
It's a bold move, Cotton.
Yeah,
let's see how this plays out.
It is. But did they pay that quarterback $180 million?
It was Chandler, so probably not.
I don't think that was necessarily the case.
Unprecedented.
So, yeah. It was definitely wild. But we're here to break down a couple of the grades. So just to let you guys know, I'm going to do a quick breakdown of all the teams that we're going to be covering tonight in tonight's episode. We have the Bucks, we have the Steelers, we have the Miami Dolphins, the Philadelphia Eagles, both of the LA teams with the Chargers and the Rams, and then we're going to be doing the Bills and the Vikings. So try to mix it up. I know we're not going to be hitting everything, so if we didn't hit your favorite team, we are sorry about that. But we are trying to keep these episodes a little bit shorter. But those are going to be the teams that we're going to be covering. Feel free to fast forward to the team that you just want to hear about if that's how you want to do it. But hey, before you do that, really quick, hit that like button, hit that share button. Go ahead and leave down a comment on your grades for your favorite team for this past draft, and what you think is going to be. What is your early prediction for your favorite team this year? That's what I want to hear down in the comments today. If you are new to this channel, definitely go ahead and hit the subscribe button. We appreciate you guys rocking with us. But fellas, let's jump right into it. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm a Tampa boy. I'm a big Bucks fan. I'm a diehard fan. They were at pick number 26, and we had Kool-Aid McKinstry. We had Cooper DeJean on the board, but they went on the safe route, and they went ahead and took center from Duke, Graham Barton. And At first, I was a little bit disappointed with this pick, just simply because he wasn't the sexy pick. He wasn't the pick that I necessarily wanted them to draft, because we do need some help in the secondary. We have ranked pretty much towards the bottom of our pass defense for the past couple of years. It has not been very good. Where I think that we were ranked like third worst or something like that last year. Or not third worst, but third from the worst. So we were like ranked 29th in passing yards last year with our secondary. But they did address a very, very big need this past off season. If you are following the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you know that they lost a huge piece, and they've been missing this huge piece over the last couple of seasons with Ryan Jensen due to injury that has sidelined him. And then he finally decided to hang up the cleats this offseason. Definitely, pay our respects to him. He was a great center for us for the years that he was here. Definitely helped us, go on that Super Bowl run in 2020. And so it sucked to see him go, but the writing was kind of on the wall. So they went out and they got Graham Barton from the University of Duke. And I got a little bit of stats here. So over the past 3 years, he's had just over 2,100 snaps in college football. And of those 2,100 sacks, he's only allowed 10 sacks, 4 quarterbacks hits, and only about 27 quarterback hurries. The guy knows how to protect the quarterback, which is great, especially in today's NFL. So although it wasn't the sexy pick, I feel like that they did help keep Baker upright, and I think that he's going to be a good addition with Tristan Wirfs. I also feel like it's going to be a big help for them in the run game, because the past 2 seasons the Bucs have ranked dead last in running the past 2 seasons, with both yards overall and yards per carry. And then they've only found the end zone 13 times over the past 2 seasons on the ground. So definitely needed to plug some big holes there. But they move on to the second round. So again, wasn't the sexy pick, but I like the pick. I think it should help them out in the run game. They go on to the second round with Chris Braswell. This guy, I think the reason why he fell out of the first round is because of his lack of experience. He hasn't had a whole lot of college snaps. I think it was just over 1,200 snaps. But of those 1,200 snaps, this guy has 18 sacks. And of those 18 sacks over the past 3 years, 13 of them came last year. So when he was on the field for the majority of the time there in Alabama, he decided to stick it out. He didn't hit the transfer portal. He stuck it out there. And he was able to really produce there last year for the Crimson Tide. So I think that adds to, more depth and more depth for us there on the defensive line. To to kind of help with the Bucs with getting after the quarterback, because that's such a huge it's so important now in today's NFL. I mean, if you get after the quarterback, you're going to cause some headache for the opposing team. So kind of wanted to jump off. I want to run down the rest of them. Of those 2 picks, what are your guys' thoughts with that?
So every single time the Bucs have succeeded, they've had a stellar defense, and it always started with the front line. Picking up an edge guy from Alabama was a good start, and I think we can probably expand on that, depending on how the rest of free agency or injuries work. And they absolutely need some help in the secondary as well. Picking up, you didn't mention him, but Bucky Irving for the backfield, a good flex option as well for the Bucs.
Yeah,
Bucky might be able to break this string of Oregon running backs. That's my only worry with Bucky. He's from Oregon. They've only had one back come out of that school and do anything with Jonathan Stewart. But they've got a long history of talented backs, but NFL production's a little low. So, but he's a good running back. Interesting to see how he complements Rachaad White.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great 1-2 punch back there. In the backfield with Rachaad, I think it's going to really help him out. They've been trying to get that second back. It seems like that's also what the NFL is moving to, where each team has at least 2 running backs that they can rely on to kind of keep that rotation going. Just being the sole number 1 guy seems to be a thing of the past in the NFL, unless if you're like a Derrick Henry or like, a Saquon Barkley, some of these guys that are like obviously the clear cut number one guys who can be your workhorse. But it seems like that we're going to more of a dual back, and the Bucks, they've tried, they've gotten, they got Vaughn a couple of years ago from Vanderbilt. Then they went
Mm-hmm.
ahead and they got Sean Tucker out of Clemson, I believe it
Oh,
was.
yeah.
And I like Sean Tucker in Clemson, and I thought maybe we got we got someone there. Unfortunately, it just hasn't necessarily paid out. I know that we did bring back Chase Edmonds, and when Chase Edmonds was on the field last year, he did do pretty good. He did still show those signs of flashiness, but he's not the compliment back that I think that the Bucks are trying to go with, especially with this new offensive coordinator. So I think that they're going to be a not necessarily a run first team, but they are going to try and get this run game up to where it needs to be to kind of help out Baker Mayfield in the passing game. With the other picks that the Bucks took, they got Tyke Smith from Georgia. He's the safety out of Georgia. Great tackler, very sure tackler. Has the ability to create turnovers as well when playing in coverage. He does lack a little bit of size, which is some scout concerns coming into the NFL, especially with the athletes that we are seeing at wide receiver now and even at tight end. But I think he'll play a good rotation guy and probably find himself a nice little home there on special teams.
Some people said Earl Thomas was kind of small.
Well, yeah, but
and look at that.
Well, very true, very true. And I mean, if you look at it, Winfield, he's not the biggest guy either. But I don't think Tyke Smith is going to be up there on that level of competition with him. I mean, maybe he is a Bulldog, so I mean we've seen some pretty good picks out of it. Something that I have saw Jason Light. The Philadelphia Eagles get every single year. Hey, if you're a Georgia Bulldog, you're going to be a Philadelphia Eagle. Well, if you're a Washington Husky, odds of you becoming a Tampa Bay Buccaneer are pretty high because Jason
Very
Light
high.
likes these guys. We went out and we got McMillan, the wide receiver out of Washington. So I think that they did add some good depth pieces and try to fill some of the holes that they needed. I give them a B- overall. I think that they could have I think that they could have done better for the secondary. With us losing Carlton Davis to the Detroit Lions in that trade, I know that we got Jordan Whitehead back, and I also know that we got Bryce Hall from the Jets. So I obviously there are some pieces that we filled there in the secondary, but we had some opportunity to get some secondary guys. They didn't take it. They went with the safe pick. But I give them a B-. I think overall they helped the team.
Yeah, I think it's a good grade. I think they did a good job of stirring up the guards. And the guard from UTEP, I think, may surprise a little folks because it's always easy to find that lineman at that small school, and they end up coming in being maulers, and he's got good body strength. So I think the Bucks did a good job of, you got to give Rashad and Bucky something to run behind.
Yeah,
and Wirfs can't do it all. So I think you hit it on the head there.
Yeah,
Yep.
I agree.
Yeah,
I
I think
agree.
it's a
I
healthy
thought
one.
thought it was a good draft, especially considering what you guys kind of lost, like you said, in the guard. And shoring up that run, those main two parts in terms of the guard and shoring up that offensive line for Baker, and making sure that you don't have to lean too heavily on running back.
He's
Getting
going
a
Max
guy
Headroom on
lucky,
us.
and even McMillan, grabbing McMillan, I think is a nice pickup. For a kind of a burner who can help you in the slot behind Godwin and Evans. I think a good draft overall, and I agree with the grade.
I agree with the grade as well. And now that you mentioned McMillan kind of being a speedster, we still got Trey Palmer. So it's like, okay, I guess we're just gonna double up on speed on the wideouts and just hope for the best. I do like the O-line pickups to help protect Baker. I would like to see us try and sign someone as an undrafted guy for a quarterback because Trask clearly was not the answer. So,
Fair enough.
at least for a backup.
No. Cool.
So,
Yeah. So, Theo, you got the Rams, and I know that you're excited for the picks that they got here. So, what do you have for the Los Angeles Rams?
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, listen, I'm gonna try. You were very gracious, giving a B for your team. Very gracious, and I think that's a good call. But I personally will say I was thrilled with our draft. I thought we did a great job. Listen, the secret is out. Aaron Donald is gone. I think this is the theme of our draft. No more Aaron Donald. So let's just go ahead and grab 9, I think, 9 players on the defense. Was it? No, not 9. No, around 7 players on the defense. We definitely had a big hole to fill that cannot be filled by anyone. Let's be honest. Like, it's unfillable. Aaron Donald, maybe the best defensive, definitely one of the best defensive players we've ever seen. In my book, the best. So definitely hard to fill that up, but hey, we tried, and the first thing we do is attack that D line and try and get us an edge in Jared Verse. Excellent edge, definitely coming out of Florida State. This guy really has so much good to like from him. I thought it was definitely a great pickup. I thought it was something that we desperately needed. Verse is a guy that arguably was the best rusher in the class. Definitely came on in Florida State and immediately had started having a huge impact on that team. So using our first pick overall to grab him, like, no complaints there. He was a proven pass rusher, and he had his kind of biggest year in college in 2021, where he was named All-TA Pro after finishing the season with 53 tackles, 11.5 tackles for loss, 9.5 sacks, and a forced fumble. I think he, throughout those years, he kind of came into his own and worked on his craft. And I believe that this guy is going to be great for us in the long run. I think he's someone that definitely fills in a much needed spot, along with the next pickup that we made in Braden Fisk, also out of Florida State. Man, this dude is massive. I mean, like, if you talk about someone that comes in and also, like, he is the guy who is actually is going to be in the spot where Aaron Donald was. He definitely is a good athlete with a lot of quickness. I love the speed with which he kind of goes through the game. There's it's not a perfect prospect, but I think a guy that with the right work could turn into someone that is a big kind of contributor for us. So I definitely appreciated that pick. If I'm gonna give some criticism, I think the amount we might have given to move up to get Fisk, in hindsight, we might have been able to kind of get that production without moving up so much. But listen, if you have your guy, if you feel like you have your guy, you know who you want. Far be it from me to kind of say, go the other way. Les Snead has done so much for us. Like, his picks have been stellar over the years. So I trust him in this instance to kind of make the right pick now. So Fisk, I definitely think is a piece that can grow with us. But I like the pick overall, and I thought definitely in lieu of Aaron Donald, we need guys, we need bodies. So a good pickup there in the second round, and then picking up Blake Corum, running back out of Michigan. This was an exciting one, finally getting some offense. Someone behind Kyren Williams to give him a little break. He had an injury last season, and the running back, I think we ended up having to bring back a running back that we had before.
Like Cam Akers?
No, not Cam Akers. It was actually Darnell Henderson. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Darnell Henderson. We had to go ahead and bring him back. And it was not good. So definitely we wanted to get a guy that could shore up Kyron Williams, maybe not have to run him so much. Kyron Williams was excellent. I mean, he was always falling forward, always getting us yards, and always getting touchdowns. But as we've seen in the NFL, running backs definitely have a carry limit. And if you push that too much, you can end up losing your star running back. So grabbing a guy like Blake Corum, I think is excellent. 27 touchdowns, earning an 83.4 rushing grade for Michigan last season. Corum definitely could, he could push for some real significant touches out right off the bat and with us, and I could see him performing for us really early. Getting him inside that offense is, I think, a really important thing. As Dave said, I do believe this is the new look NFL. Everyone wants to have a committee. Running backs are too fragile and they're too important. So if you have a really good one, you want to protect him by not giving him too much work. I think Blake Corum was the perfect fit. I really like that. I like grabbing him there. And I think the last guy I'll go in depth with is Cameron Kitchen, cornerback. Safety out of Miami, Florida. I like this guy, man. 11 interceptions since 2022, the most at the position. Kitchen's definitely a well-rounded guy, good awareness, instinct, safety at the safety position. I thought he was twitchy, and I thought he was a guy that seemed to be where the ball is. In a lot of instances, man, after watching some of his tape, man, he had a 90.0 grade, and he was ranked 5th overall in college football in 2022. He's a baller, man. This is a guy that, I think he knows ball. So I appreciate having him in there, but definitely I think someone who's gonna be a big contributor for us early as well, getting in there. Like I said, the theme of the draft is defense, shoring up that defense in the lieu of missing out on Aaron Donald. So what do you?
No, I think they did well. Last year the offense is good, and like you said, when Kyron Williams is in there, it's a different offense.
Mm-hmm.
I am with you on the Cam Kitchens pick. At the end of 2022, this guy was a first rounder, and then he has a very weird fluke injury last year where he it's not even a hard tackle, but he suffered it was a weird fluke injury and he was able to come back, but he's not going to be your blazer back there, but he has some characteristics of a guy that played back in that same position. He did okay in the NFL. He's got some Ed Reed type prep to his game. That guy turned out decent for Baltimore over the years. So Cam he is going to be a good player for those guys, man. He works hard, great attitude, and he studies tape. And I like them drafting the two FSU guys because you got two guys that have played next to each other for a few years now, and they'll understand each other, what they want to do, and I think it'll help them out a lot.
I love seeing the video where they drafted Fisk and they were like, hey, we're going to go ahead and draft you. And the first thing that he said was, oh, I get to play with Verse again. And they were like, yeah, man, we were trying to get him here, but the bus was running just a little bit late. So, and then you see Verse running up into the room, to get him on the phone, man. I mean, so, those two guys are going to bring a lot of energy into that locker room. Now let's be honest. You can't replace Aaron Donald. No matter what you do, no matter who you draft, you just can't replace that. But I think that them just going and attacking it with their first two picks with guys who have very good chemistry and have played alongside each other and have played at high level beside each other, I think that that's going to be very, very impactful. And you guys should be reaping the benefits of that, early this season.
Yeah.
I just to piggyback on all of that, you picked up 3 very explosive defensive players. You're probably going to see a big change in the Rams defense this coming season, or potentially the next, maybe following, depending on injuries and stuff. But it's very explosive players off the edge, in the middle, and in the secondary. You said Ed Reed comparison, Carlos. From what I saw of his tape, it's very esque of Ed Reed. Not exactly, but getting there. And with the Fuller State guys, dude, their defense was phenomenal, especially with Fisk and Verse. Getting Blake Corum in that backfield to help out, That's a clutch pick. I can't even argue that. It's a good. You guys did very well. I wouldn't give them an A, but they did very well.
Yeah. The grade that I landed on was a B plus. I think, there was some things that definitely could have been, there's always more, I think, that can be kind of attained. I think overall it's always interesting when you come to running backs. Like, I hate the grade down for it, but whenever you take a running back a little bit too early, you wonder, like, okay, like, is there a better pick that could have gone? And not that I think that Corum went too early, because I don't think you get Corum if you don't take him there. But definitely, I feel like it was a solid draft. Plugged up some holes where we had massive holes, and at the end of the day, I think we did what we needed to do to kind of get us back on the right track.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I like the grade overall. I think that you guys drafted well. Addressed the needs of where you guys needed it. So yeah, man. I mean, I can't complain. I would have put them at an A if it were me. But because I just think that they prioritized, they had a plan, and I feel like that they executed it to perfection. So, but I like it. Scooter, you got the Buffalo Bills, and I know that you are excited about this A+ grade right here, my friend. So I am ready to hear Scooter's take on the Buffalo Bills. Bills Mafia, listen up.
Hey, wait, they drafted this year? I thought they just traded everything.
The Bills, the Buffalo Bills tend to do things the Buffalo way, and it is never how anyone else wants to do it. And they taught me some patience. Let's just say that much. They taught me a lot of patience out of the first round, and they absolutely capitalized in the second round with wide receiver Keon Coleman out of Florida State and Cole Bishop out of Utah for safety. I don't know if he's going to be like a Poyer type guy, but he does show a lot of spread. The way he's very fluid in the secondary. Keon, Florida State just capitalized with him, with Jordan Travis. He's a big guy. I think he only had 2 drops his entire time. He had like 13 or 11 touchdowns. And you throw a jump ball, it's like Mike Evans. He's probably coming down with that thing. The Bills needed someone of size, given the other speedsters at the wide receiver core for them. And on top of that, capitalizing on defense in the third round with Dwayne Carter out of Duke. He was, so I know we didn't cover him in our previous episodes, but he is, I don't want to say Vita Vea-esque from the Bucs, but he does show a lot of power. He needs to work on his hand spread, because when he gets wide, he gets taken advantage of, and that's not good in the interior D line. You want to get up and tight, like Warren Sapp, and just bull rush a guy through. And James Cook being like their sole breadwinner back there, and you pick up Ray Davis from Kentucky, who's survived the SEC as a relatively bigger back. He's explosive. So you not only have a wide receiver now to throw to, that you lost, your big guy in Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs. I don't know if Keon's the number one. We'll find out this year. But Ray Davis doing the whole dual running back thing, dude, you gotta watch out for the Bills offense. And they also picked up Cedric Van Pran-Gronger from Georgia too.
Say that name one more time.
Cedric Van Pran-Gronger. I'm probably saying that wrong. I got some allergies going. I probably said it wrong.
I can't wait to see that on
he plays
back
center and guard. So they're trying to protect Josh Allen a little bit more. They're giving him some weapons. They got some defense. So they picked up 2 guys on defense. And I think they still need to pick up some undrafted guys or pull some more from free agency, because they still got to stop the bleeding in the secondary. Because guess what? You gave up your first-round pick, speedster, to the Chiefs that you've lost 3 times in the playoffs. So as a grade, I give them a B, just a flat B. It might be kind of harsh, but you plugged some holes, but not all of them.
I think that you're being gracious with that B, to be honest with you. I understand that they got Keon Coleman and they address some of those needs, but I mean, you had. I mean, this was such a deep draft class with talent, and
Yeah.
they traded back. Now, I will say this to give them the benefit of the doubt. They are hurting in cap space, right? And so I feel
Oh
like
yeah.
that the reason why they drafted out of the first round ultimately was simply because they didn't want to pay the first round contract. I think that the number 32 pick overall with the Carolina Panthers, Xavier Legette, is that how you pronounce his last name?
Yeah, Leggett.
So I think that it's like, I don't know, like 13 million I think for his rookie contract. So whereas with Keon Coleman, I think that it's somewhere in like the $4 or $5 million range. So they definitely could save some capital there. But overall, I think that they missed the mark on some of their picks. And the fine trading out of the first round, but I mean, like, let's try and be a little aggressive, on day 2 and 3 to try and move up, because there was so much talent, and I just felt like that they were just like, well, I mean, whoever falls to us will fall to us, So, I would have given them more of like a C, but that's just, I think a B is pretty gracious for the Bills.
Yeah,
I would have to agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
My only worry with Coleman is that is he going to be fast enough? Can a 4'6" wide receiver play in the NFL and be that guy? So I don't even know if he's a true one. I mean, he's got, great ball skills and he catches. It's just, man, he's in a tough division with the Jets defense, the Dolphins defense. He could struggle there. Like, can he beat Ramsey, or Sauce Gardner from the Jets? I just, I don't even know if
And let's not forget that the Patriots, they got Christian Gonzalez, who got injured last year, and I think that he might have a bounce back year this year. So might be tough for him there in the AFC East.
Yeah, they got
it might be, but
or not.
Ramsey's overrated, so whatever.
Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah, I think they just got a lot of hopes. Like, these guys play above. I mean, and being a Dolphin fan, they're the rival. I hope they all fail, but I like some of their guys. Like you said, with Cole Bishop, I think he's a good player. Is he a Poyer? I don't know, but Poyer's on the Dolphins, so that's nice. So, but yeah, they're it's definitely not one of their better drafts.
Yeah. Mr. Carlos, you just mentioned the Miami Dolphins, and that's the team that you are about to break down.
Yeah, it's always hard to grade your team, because the Rams, I thought, had a phenomenal draft. I don't feel that the Dolphins had a really great draft. I think Pittsburgh kind of took their pick each time, and they could have done really well. Chop is their first rounder, and I get the logic behind it, but I feel like they're in that win now situation, and they have a chance to. When you have a chance to win Super Bowl, you have to go at it, like you at all costs, like the Bucs did with Brady and those guys. And I just think Chop was not the guy that they should have picked. But who knows? Raw talent, quick, fast. He gets to the quarterback, so we'll see with him. I did like their pick with Patrick Paul from Houston, the tackle. The guy's got a lot of starts under his belt. He's team captain, really good pass blocker. And in that offense, you don't have to pass block for very long. And they have a very friendly O-line run game. When all your running backs, the slow guy is a 4-3-4, that's your slow guy. You don't have to block very long. And then they pick up the running back from Tennessee that just, like you guys mentioned earlier, it's just like there's no drop. I mean, you got A-Chain, Mozart, and now this, and then him. It's just, God, man.
You guys are building an Olympic track team over there.
Yeah.
They're not building one. They have one.
Yeah, very true.
I think Jalen, right? I mean, he's got home run speed. They all do. I mean, in A-Chain, we're going to see he bulked up a little bit over the offseason. But that's typical Mike McDaniel. He did the same thing at San Fran where they always had like the three-headed, one goes down. There's another one that looks exactly like the one that just went down. So
He's
I do.
cloning people in
He
Miami.
really is. If you look at all the backs, they look the same. They're all fast and they can catch. They do, and then they hit holes at insane speeds. But their interesting pick for me is Muhammad Kamara from Colorado State. I watched him play against. I remember Colorado, and they could not block him. Granted, their O line was not good, but this guy was everywhere. He was their defensive player of the year for their for that conference. I'm interested to see how he pans out. He's going to be a curious one. But I thought, I'm going to give him really like a C plus. I feel like they needed to address more of that O line. I would have liked to see them attack more of the guard, the tackles, some more of the win now stuff. Like in their back end of their draft was their guys that are special teamers. I just kind of wish they would have went a little more what they need now to win now.
Yeah, I feel like they could have been a little bit more aggressive as far as, maybe taking the opportunity. Like Dallas Turner wasn't picked until pick 17, and what, you guys were picked 21. So and the Vikings moved up from, I believe, 23 to get Dallas Turner from the I believe Jacksonville traded back that pick.
Yep.
So like they could have been in a position where they could have traded up to try and get someone who was falling very quickly, and it was a surprise to all of us when Dallas Turner was not picked. At 8, pretty much, right? I mean, because that's where almost every mock draft had him. So, but I feel like that they could have definitely been more aggressive in trying to, get the guys that maybe were falling to them. But they didn't make those moves.
Yeah, I thought they even corner, like there was a couple corners there that they could have put alongside Ramsey. And man, if you got two good corners on your defense, it changes the game for your defense.
It does.
Where you can do more, you can blitz more frequently. Like I just think there's a couple players out there. I would have liked to actually see them go corner, or unfortunately their pick at guard got taken early to Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they could have done a little bit better to keep, Tua's head from bouncing off the ground so much. And
hey, no, that didn't happen last year.
Yeah, well, all it takes is one, man. I've had a concussion myself, and all it takes is another little relapse, and you're not playing anymore. So keep that in mind. Yeah. McDaniels, dude, he just builds a track team. That's all he runs on speed. When you score 70 points, what's the use of defense? At the same token, then you play in the NFL, and that's not going to happen every single week. So yeah, maybe some O-lines and defense. Probably in the same concept with the Bills, try to pick some dudes up from the undrafted category, or potentially more free agents, because there are still guys that are out there, maybe on the older side of it. Chop Robinson and Kamara, interesting mix, because Chop's more of an outside linebacker, and Kamara's more of your standard DN type guy. And Kamara, I think I can't remember if he had an injury or not late in the season, but he was stellar against Colorado. That's a rivalry game. Colorado and Colorado State. I would like to see how he does pan out. That's a good comment as well. I would like to see how he pans out, because it's like the Mountain West. You had Van Der Esch from Boise State and with the Cowboys. He just retired, so you don't really see Mountain West as much succeed and continuously start. But I would like to see him play and see how that pans out.
Yeah, well, and to kind of jump right into the next team that I'm going to be picking, Carlos mentioned them, and that's the Pittsburgh Steelers. And when you think of Pittsburgh, say what you will, but
I think of Pittsburgh.
Well, I know that you're not very happy, but when you think of Pittsburgh, you think blue collar. You think blue collar, just good old country boys. And that's exactly what they did this draft class. They stayed true to the black and yellow there. And Mike Tomlin continued to they just continue to draft really, really well. I was very impressed with this draft class after looking at it. Their first two picks, they got Troy Fontenot and then Zach Fraser. And those two guys combined, right, have about 4,800 snaps in their college career. And between both of them, they've only allowed about 7 sacks. So, I mean, it is, those two guys are sure things. Zach Frazier is a big boy that can plug up the middle there. That's going to help, which we just all saw today. Najee Harris they're not picking up his 5th-year option. So this is pretty much Najee Harris contract year where the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to see if they're going to move forward with him or not. So, but I mean, Zach Frazier can help with that. Can help open up holes for Najee. And then Fontenot, probably one of the best tackles, if not the best tackle that was in this draft class, coming in to this draft class. I mean, I know that we got Joe All and, Mims. I understand that. But if you look at this guy's tape, man, he moves like a freaking running back, and he shouldn't for his size. I mean, this guy is just he plays well. He gets up the field to help continue the block. The screen games, I mean, he's just his footwork is very impressive. And to top it all off, this guy he grew up a Pittsburgh Steeler fan. So like the
That's
fact that
good.
he got
That's
drafted
cool.
by in the first round by his team because he was a big Troy Polamalu fan, and so that's kind of how he became a Steelers guy. And the fact that he got the call from the 412 area code, that's what he said in his press conference. As soon as he saw the 412, he knew, he was happy, And same with Zach Frazier, man. I mean, he loves the Pittsburgh Steelers. At the end of the day, man, this organization has found success through and throughout all the years. Mike Tomlin, say what you will about him, but the guy has yet to have a losing season. So it's just one of those things that, I mean, they stuck true to it. But then you go into the later rounds. They got Rome Wilson and then they got Peyton Wilson. Rome Wilson, very fast wide receiver from Michigan that has very good hands. His route running could probably use, some better. His route running can be cleaned up, but that can be cleaned up in the NFL. You can
Mm-hmm.
learn how to clean up your route running in the NFL. But then you get Peyton Wilson. I don't know if you guys know about this linebacker out of NC State, but this guy is probably the best linebacker that was coming out of this draft class. This guy is insane on the field. Absolute weapon. Lights out, ran like a 4.43. Okay, so he can keep up with some wide receivers in the NFL. He can keep up with Keon Coleman, that's for sure. So, but I mean, like, right, I mean, the guy is all over the field, and he's immune to playing at MetLife because the guy is missing an ACL in one of his knees. So that was one of the big hits of him as far as, that's probably why he fell out as far as he did. But watch out for Peyton Wilson. And I'm not the only person saying it. A guy by the name of Luke Kuechly said that he loves Peyton Wilson and the game that he produces and thinks that he's a very good player for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And let's not forget the Pittsburgh Steelers got Patrick Queen this offseason. So that linebacking duo was going to be nasty. I give the Pittsburgh Steelers an A+ because of what they were able to do this draft. And yeah, AFC North should be put on notice. I know it's a strong division. But Mike Tomlin and what they are going to continue to build there, especially with Russell Wilson mentoring Justin Fields now, I like what they have done.
Yeah, man.
Freaking
you had some sirens in the background, and
well,
that was the Pittsburgh Steelers
I don't know if that was for
parade
Carlos or for the rest of the AFC North. I don't know if it was for Carlos and his potential shock and awe that he had there, because the Pittsburgh Steelers did exactly what the Dolphins should have done. And yeah, they definitely picked up some studs. The Wilson was not Wilson brothers, but they might as well be. They do need some refinement. Luke Kuechly's critique of Wilson for linebacker, very similar in play at that kind of pre-read dog execution, explosiveness into the backfield. Yes, he absolutely can keep up with even wide receivers, so it's not an issue. Rome Wilson, I think, for from Michigan at wide receiver. Yeah, he definitely needs to get a sharper footwork for his routes, but I think that can easily be coached. The O-line guys, just perfect. Because, Justin Fields was running around for his life in Chicago. And same thing with Russell Wilson at Denver. So,
And also, let's not forget, they got Broderick Jones last year from Georgia, who is
yep.
probably going to move to left tackle. And then you got Fontenot at right tackle. I don't know. It could be opposite, but I'm leaning towards Jones going to the left tackle position.
Yeah. I don't think they had a bad pick.
No.
I mean, this is probably one of the better, like even their late round guys with Logan Lee with Iowa. Those Iowa guys are always.
And then McCormick from South Dakota. I mean, yeah. He's only allowed 2 sacks over the last 3 years.
Yeah, you're 100% right that this should have been the Dolphins, what their draft should have looked like. And they, man, I don't dislike any of their picks. I mean, now I hate Pittsburgh, but
well, that's why the sirens were going. That's why the sirens were going. They were coming to make sure
that
your blood pressure was okay. So sorry about that, everyone, but you can't control it, man. Hey, when someone's having a heart attack, you gotta go there. So
blink twice if you're okay, Carlos.
Right?
I'm not.
He's gonna keep his eyes wide open right now.
What are your thoughts, Theo? What about the Pittsburgh Steelers, man?
Oh man, I mean, I can only agree. I can only agree with what you guys have said so far. I thought it was a really phenomenal draft. I mean, Mike Tomlin, those guys up there, like we know what they do. Like they're expert. They're really good drafters. But what I always marvel at with the Steelers is I just think they're such a solid organization. You don't necessarily hear a whole lot of stuff coming from them. And I really think it's a great place. They've had some troubles at quarterback over the past couple of years, right? And it's been a little rough for them. But in most of their other positions, like you just see these guys get built up and grow. I think it's a great organization to go that is solid. And if you're starting as not necessarily the cleanest, like most shiny prospect, I think it's a great place for you to go and kind of get sharpened up under Mike Tomlin and that system that they have going on there. Listen, they're always a threat, right? Like they somehow find a way to always compete. We all know the Mike Tomlin start. The negative season just doesn't come. And having a draft like this, at the end of the day, it doesn't seem like that's gonna go too far from what we're used to seeing from them. So I'm interested to see what they're gonna do with it. It's gonna be interesting. I think the main thing going into the year is still gonna be like this Russell Wilson, Justin Fields situation that we have going on. Like, is that gonna get sorted out? But
I don't know if it's really a situation, though, is it?
No,
I think Russell Wilson's the starter, and he's going to mentor Justin, and I think that's the perfect.
I guess my thought is that as soon as, do we feel like Russell Wilson is going to just play well enough to not have the question marks 3 games in, and people are like, hey, is it time for Fields? Like, is he really gonna take that team all the way, or like when are we gonna start hearing that call for Fields? And
but
then
Mike Tomlin's never been a coach to just switch quarterback in the middle of the season.
No,
I think never really had to.
I mean, fair enough. All right, Scooter, relax.
I think, and to that point though, like I don't know if Russell Wilson is that mentor, right? There are certain personalities that click and that are well suited for mentorship. I don't know that much or that amount of depth into Russell Wilson outside of his play, so I can't speak to how he is as a mentor. Let's be real. I think the 4 of us probably couldn't accurately do that. But I just, what I see on the field and what I saw on the sidelines the past 3 or so years from him, it didn't seem like a mentor. It seemed like a leader, but not a mentor. And that's fine.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
especially when you kind of do things the way things happen. Then I'm gonna move on to my pick next after this comment. But after, with them getting Fields the way they did, right after signing him, Russell, his situation is so interesting because Steelers aren't paying him. The Broncos are paying him. So like it's like who does he really care? Like at the end of the day, he's getting paid either way. Like they bring in Fields and he made the post on Twitter and he's like, "Oh yeah, let's go, man. We're good." Like, I mean, at the end of the day, he's getting his money. And not to say that he only cares about money, but at the same time, it's like usually when someone comes in, like we hear about Kirk Cousins and how upset he was about the crazy Michael Penix signing, and like I don't know what Russell Wilson actual thought is. Does he feel like he's coming to the end? Like at the end of the day, his play on the field makes it seem like he's coming to the end. So like, is he gonna be real with himself, or is he gonna be like, nah, I'm not gonna show you anything. Let's move on. It'll be interesting. That's so when I say like through the year, I think that's what's gonna be the kind of point of contention. We'll have to see.
Yeah, we will have to see. But let's move on to Theo. You got the other
Yeah.
Los Angeles team, Los Angeles Chargers.
Yeah, the LA Chargers, man.
How they do?
You want to talk about another just solid, I think, draft that was great. I think overall, digging into this draft, I feel like I ended up coming out feeling the same way about that you felt about the Steelers, about the Chargers, man. I felt like they did what they needed to do to like fill some of the holes, and it was an unorthodox draft, right? I don't think it happened the way we all expected it to happen. With Harbaugh at the reins now, but at the same time, it's interesting because the Chargers are not one move away. We know the Chargers year after year to be that team that it seems like this should be it. The past couple of years, it seemed like it should have been it. They should have made it to the postseason. They should have competed longer. And it just is not happening. This is a team that needed a little bit of a tear down, and I think that's what Harbaugh is here to do. And he made a statement in the first round, taking Joe Alt out of Notre Dame, tackle out of Notre Dame, Malik Neighbors sitting there right for him, and he's like, "Nah, I'm good. I'm gonna go ahead and take Joe Alt tackle. I'm gonna tell you guys exactly what it is I'm trying to do with this team." I thought it was a great pick for that mindset. The Chargers definitely had a clear need at wide receiver, but they also had a need at tackle. And it's never a bad idea to shore up that position, because when you shore up your line, you are making space for multiple positions, not just one. So definitely bring in a guy like Joe Alt. I mean, guys, this dude, he is ridiculous. Huge guy. Definitely, played. He was a finalist for the Outland Trophy Award, which is awarded to the nation's #1 OL and interior offensive lineman. Definitely unanimously named the college football all-team, and he was just a guy that was just very consistent and always there for his team. Supported at all. I think he does everything you kind of expect him to do, right? He creates a lot of motions and gives a lot of opportunity for combo blocks in his gameplay. What I thought was really kind of interesting about his game was the quickness of his feet. Dude is just always set on his feet. His footwork is great, and I think he's going to be a mauler, man. I think he's going to be a tough guy for anyone to kind of attack, and going through for the run game, for protection of the quarterback and for the run game. I thought it was an excellent pick, and I think with that pick, Harbaugh kind of stated, "Hey, it's a new regime here. We're not just gonna go out here and try to do the same thing again. We're going to protect the quarterback, and we're going to make sure that we have enough time to do what we want to do with the ball. And I think that means we're gonna run it." Now they went ahead in the second round and drafted one of my favorite offensive players from this draft, Ladd McConkey. I thought it was a great pick. If you're gonna pass up on someone like and Malik Neighbors, Rome Odunze at the top. I think McConkey is a great consolation prize. This guy, I mean, he is so shifty. The comp that I have for him seems like a lower comp, but like at the high end, like I think he's a high end version of this guy. Hunter Renfrow, man. Hunter Renfrow is a guy I thought definitely if he went to a different organization, could have produced more. If he had a better opportunity with a different team. The Raiders, man, I don't know, but I digress. I think that McConkey was definitely a great pick. Super shifty guy, super fast. I think he's going to be able to play slot and also on the outside. Someone that's really going to be able to fill in. Like Keenan Allen is another guy with big shoes to fill. I don't think he fills those completely, but I think he's going to become Justin Herbert's best friend real quick. So I definitely thought that also was a great pick by them. Moving on, they drafted guys like Junior Colson, linebacker out of Michigan. Another guy that I thought was definitely a I think they kind of changed their strategy throughout the next couple of picks, where they drafted 2 cornerbacks back to back and a defensive lineman. And at the end of the day, the best thing to go hand in hand with the running scheme is a great defense. You want to be able to keep the ball, keep them from scoring, and also be able to drag out the clock. I think that's Harbaugh once again bringing in his Michigan ways, and definitely there was a theme here in this draft, right? He wanted some of his Michigan guys. He definitely went out his way to go and grab them, and I thought it was a really good draft overall, man. And the last guy I want to talk about is Kamani Vidal, running back. Definitely lesser known kind of guy. I just want to bring him up because we have they brought in Gus Bus, they brought in Gus Edwards, and they brought in J.K. Dobbins. So these are 2 guys that are a little bit older. Dobbins has the injuries. Gus a little bit older. Kamani Vidal, someone that did a lot for his team on the college scene, but I think this is a guy that we could end up seeing him step in halfway through the season, depending on the tread on the tires on some of those other guys. So overall, I thought it was a really good draft, and I give them an A.
Yeah, it's definitely a hardball draft. Like, you look at these guys, they just say Jim Harbaugh all over them. I mean, McConkey's a tough guy. I think that's a great pick. It's so tough. Like, do you take the chance on getting that superstar wide receiver that can stretch the field and do those things that they desperately need for Herbert, or is it better to give the guy an extra, half second, improve your run game with Alt? So I think Alt's the pick that's, in hindsight, is right. It's not the risky bit. McConkey, though,
Right.
good guy, man. He's got some, and it's a bold probably statement. He's kind of Cooper Cup-ish. He's fast.
That's a
very
comp too.
shifty.
Yeah.
He's definitely going to be, like you said, the best friend, because they're taking a chance that Quentin Johnson is miraculously going to learn how to catch over the offseason and be the other guy, because he did not pan out for them. And they must know something we don't know to trade off the other 2, get rid of the other 2 wide receivers. But no, I thought they had a good draft. They brought in some tough guys, some depth competition. I think it was a good draft for them.
Yeah, it was a very solid draft. The theme of this draft is just like family, because John Alt played for the Kansas City Chiefs. He's the dad of Joe Alt, and then you have Brendan Rice,
Brendan Rice,
from
Brendan Rice,
USC. The son of legendary Jerry Rice. Now, will he fill his dad's shoes? Probably not. But
got another McCaffrey,
fast guy, and McCaffrey. So, I think that overall this Carlos, I think you put it right on the head, man. It's Harbaugh, and I love how when Joe showed up, Jim Harbaugh did like the big like pull up the pants, wide stance dad. Like it was almost like he was about to sell him like a used car. It was crazy. So, but I like the pick, and I think that Jim Harbaugh kind of put his flag right in the dirt from day one, and was just like, hey. We're gonna build this thing right. I'm excited and I'm optimistic to see growth in Justin Herbert because I really like Justin Herbert. But if he can't if he can't produce under Jim Harbaugh, I think we're gonna need to start talking about, is he really a starting quarterback? It's just one of those things where it's like, I mean, long term, is he going to be a franchise guy? Can he start in the NFL? Yeah. Is he a franchise guy? I don't know, man. You need to win playoffs to be a franchise guy.
He's got to settle, and I think that's what it was. I think that's what Harbaugh did. I think he wanted him to be able to be more settled in the pocket. If you look at what Herbert has had to do over the years, he's had to play a lot of hero ball. He's had to kind of bring this team back from the brink. Whether it was defensive, allowing kind of the score to get out of hand, or just not feeling like he had confidence in his offensive line. I think Herbert has felt the need to play hero ball, and I don't necessarily feel like he is that. Like Josh Allen is that kind of guy that I think could take over a game. Like I'm doing it. I'm taking over this game. This is all mine. Justin Herbert, I think there might be some stuff in his game, and I think it might lead more to maybe more the leadership side of things. I've heard that he's a little bit more quiet. I heard he's not necessarily that kind of rah kind of guy in the locker room, but I think Harbaugh is going to change that. I think Harbaugh is that presence that's going to come there, bring in like, here's how we're going to do this. We're going to make sure our quarterback has the time, and I do believe that it's going to pay off.
Yeah.
So you guys keep talking about Harbaugh and offense and defense. What I hear is the Chargers will finally have a complementary team, like what they had with Phillip Rivers and LT and Junior Seau. What we're going to see in this build-up for the Chargers is a complementary, holistic team. You're going to have an O-line. You may not have A-plus wide receivers, but you're going to get the ball down the field. You're going to protect your quarterback. You're going to do the play action. You're going to actually have a run game for once. And it's ironic that you have J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards with Harbaugh, because J.K. Dobbins ran all over the Wolverines, and now Harbaugh's like, this guy,
come on down.
And now you got to hand him the ball, so it's gonna work. And the same thing with Quentin Johnson, dude. What that? I hope he somehow finds the sticky in the gloves, because he was fantastic at TCU and just did something disappeared. You got Ladd McConkey, excellent route runner, excellent, agility and speed. I think that's a good move for what Justin Herbert's looking for. He needs someone to run some clean routes to actually catch the ball. Cooper Kupp is a very good analogy there. Good job there, Carlos. Defensively, they got the corners and D-line, I got you, but they need some form of mentorship there and some help. I know they still got Khalil Mack, and I think holistically speaking, the Chargers are getting more back on path. I don't know if they're like competing with the Chiefs or not, but they're more back on their path.
Yeah, I think they're still a little ways out. I would bet that they're probably not going to have a winning season next year. I think there's just not enough there, but they are laying the foundation of this draft to get where they need to be.
Yeah. Speaking of laying a foundation, Scooter, Minnesota Vikings, J.J. McCarthy, Dallas Turner.
Man,
what's going on?
The Vikings skull. Man, I got so hyped when you told me I was going to get the Vikings. Because how do you let Dallas Turner get to 17?
Well, you trade up and get him at 17.
Right? You got JJ to JJ now. And you got Dallas Turner wreaking havoc in the NFC North. Man, this is going to be a good year in football. Now, with a grain of salt, because J.J. McCarthy's coming in, you still got Sam Darnold. I do think Kevin O'Connell absolutely knows what he's doing. You don't draft the way he did without understanding that you're in the same conversation, in the same previous coaching tree as Sean McVay, Mike McDaniels. Come on. They're excellent at putting the offense on the field. They answered with some defense that they desperately needed with Dallas Turner, Kyrie, Jackson, and then they picked up a dude. I actually had to Google this guy. Levi Rodriguez from Texas A&M Community College. You have to Google that for sure. Dude is actually pretty agile off the edge, and I would like to see how this translates, because I don't even know if it's D2 or D3. I have to double check, but man, they picked up O-line too with a tackle and interior guy, Michael Jurgens from Wake Forest in the interior, and Walter Rouse from Oklahoma. What does Oklahoma do? They produce quarterbacks, wide receivers. They just produce a bunch of offense, to be honest with you, but absolutely O-line. Dude is just a tank that's going to catch guys off the edge. The kicker pick in Will Reichard from Alabama, I didn't think they needed a kicker, but apparently they did. I think Kevin O'Connell absolutely understands what he's doing with the Vikings. If you're playing fantasy, Theo, I'm sure you're going to touch this. JJ to JJ is going to be magic. It's going to be heaven for everyone.
Yeah.
And, dude, picking up Aaron Jones in the free agency, dude, the Vikings to me did. You already said my first grade was wrong. I'm saying the Vikings did at least an A in the draft.
I can agree with that. I would just give them an A just simply because I feel like that they got the steal of the draft with Dallas Turner. I mean, I don't. They saw him fall and they were like, "Screw it, we're moving up." Like, I mean, we're just. Why is this guy not getting picked? You know. So I mean, JJ McCarthy. I mean, everyone was kind of saying that he was going to go there. You know, so he's gonna. Now, does he? So my question is does JJ start? I'm leaning towards yes, but they did bring in Sam Darnold. Now, I mean, granted, Sam Darnold, I mean, is he? I mean, meh. But I mean, like, do they have him sit? Do they have, because we've seen now, it seems like teams are seeing now, hey, maybe we should draft a quarterback and then have him sit for at least a year.
Yeah. We see it with Mahomes. We see it with Mahomes. We saw it now with Jordan Love. This sitting for a year is having there's some rapport there. So
yeah, even
Sam Darnold's not an Alex Smith. He's not an Aaron Rodgers. He's not a Brett Favre. It's Sam Darnold.
Darnold's going to get a shot. He's going to have the best receiving core he's ever had with Addison, and possibly, arguably, the best receiver in the NFL. He's got Hawkinson. He's got an above average O-line. Got running back. Like he's definitely in the best position that he's ever been in. But I think you're right. Even Tua, having that mentor with Fitzpatrick. I think that, like you said, it is. They it's gonna be interesting. I think JJ's got a shot at it for sure.
Yeah, I would give. I mean, yeah, but I agree with you though. I do agree. Look at that. Scooter and David agreeing. Something new, So, but
it only took us like a billion episodes.
Yeah. So, but I just, again, man, I can't believe that Dallas Turner fell, and he is going to cause a lot of problems there in the AFC North for a long time.
How many appreciation letters or tweets, Instagrams, whatever, that Atlanta gets from Minnesota fans for drafting a quarterback?
I don't think you can put a number on it.
Man, their email
inbox is full.
Yeah. Oh man. So, but last but certainly not least, Mr. Carlos, you got the Philadelphia Eagles.
Fly, Eagles, fly. Good Lord. This team, another team, man. I'm not sure how they ended up with these two guys with the number 1 and 2 corner in the draft and Cooper DeJean falling into the second round still mind boggles me. And the guy was, I think, in the top 15 rated prospects on some boards. Like, I don't get it. I mean, they literally got 2 starters that are popping into their starting lineup. Like, their defense has completely changed because that was a weak spot for them last year, was that back into that defense. So now you got Quentin Mitchell that's back there, Cooper DeJean. Like, man, it's 2 gifts for them back to back. They definitely had a really good draft. They get the linebacker Chillax Hunt. I'm hoping I got it. He's another small school guy that's out of Houston Christian. Small conference, but he was their defensive player of the year there. Good acceleration. The guy, and anytime that if you're an edge guy, the one key that you need is, you always hear people talk about is, do they bend well? And this guy bends well around the edge. So he's athletic, and he's got a motor that doesn't stop. This guy just, whatever smelling salt he tucks in his helmet, I don't know, man. But this guy, he absolutely
Get that Baker, man.
He does not stop on there. He's going to struggle, I think, a little bit in the pros, though. But I thought it was a good pick for them. They do need some linebacker depth, but their major need at corner, they 100% addressed, and we're probably in that war room going, what the hell here? I do like, they do get Will Shipley from Clemson. I could have swore Shipley's been in the college for about 8 or 9 years now, but good starter. He's going to be a good compliment back for them, but there's some things I don't like about him. It's that when running backs, you can tell when they don't fall forward. That's what you're always looking for. When they're getting tackled, they fall forward. He's not that guy that does that. He tends to kind of, sometimes when he's running in the middle, he just kind of lowers his head and, see what happens from there. But he's a great outside runner, catches the ball very well. So that'll be something that I think that he'll fit nicely into their offense. But man, their first 2 picks they hit it out of the park with those corners, man. It just changes their defense altogether, and I think puts them back in that Super Bowl talks again, that they're going to be one of those teams to reckon with out of the NFC.
So I know that we talked about it pre-draft and a little bit on draft night with Cooper DeJean as far as cornerbacks go. Now they did, they did just bring back Gardner Johnson, right, in the safety position. He went to Detroit for a little vacation, and then he came right back to Philadelphia. Do you see them sticking DeJean though at corner? Like, does he stay in that position, or do you think that they shift him back with Johnson to play, safety with him back there?
I don't think so. I think he, because you have Darius Slay on the other side, so I think you're gonna have Slay and Mitchell on the outside. You got Gardner that's gonna play that middle. I think he's gonna be kind of like their nickel guy, depending on who they're week to week. But he just provides a ton of depth if one of the other guys goes down. But I don't think he makes it. I think Mitchell and Slay have that pretty locked down. But
okay,
I think he's back in the kind of a slot. Could be like a hybrid type safety. I think Philly eventually moves him back into safety at some point, like the free safety position.
Okay.
I think it depends on how they play it in the OTAs and in spring training, right? You got a lot of talent on the defense, especially a cornerback with the Eagles. He's also DeJean is also a returnman, so he's probably going to play a lot of special teams in the beginning and maybe some nickel, like Carlos was saying. And I could see how he could flex to safety very easily, but I want to give him the benefit of the doubt and actually playing cornerback. Like, let's see this kid play. Let's see him go up against A.J. Brown or Devonta Smith and see if he's legit, right? Put him in practice. Put him one-on-one. You're like, hey, if you're good as Slay or you're good as Mitchell. And if you're not, you're going to be backup. You're going to be returnman. You're going to be nickel. Or, maybe you talk to some coaches and just put on some weight and throw on some safety,
Yeah, it was interesting that they, in 2023, they had only one draft strategy for Philly we're just going to draft Georgia Bulldog players.
Yeah,
So for them to
Did
break
they this
away,
time?
yeah, that's all they did was Georgia Bulldog. We'll take it on there, but these guys have, they did lose Hassan Reddick, but if you look at their linebackers, they got Devin White, Josh Sweat that's there, and then you have Slay, the two rookies coming in. Man, that linebacker's back. They're gonna be a little nasty.
That depends if Devin White decides to play football.
He will, because he's got a little chip on his shoulder. I think he's gonna have a good year. I think Tampa's gonna regret letting that one go.
I didn't like Devin White leaving. I understand his play there towards the end and everything. I still did not like Devin White leaving. He was a huge play and huge role, in that 2020 season when we made the Super Bowl run for that defense. And to see him go and to see him put on the Philadelphia Eagles jersey, which as a Tampa fan, I mean, if you're a true Tampa fan or Philly fan, this rivalry goes way back. So to see him go to the Eagles, it just kind of breaks my heart, but I think that he's going to find great success there. And I think that the Philadelphia Eagles loaded up on defense, and they should be ready to make another good run here in the playoffs. So
they even did well in the back end too with Jeremiah Trotter out of Clemson.
Dude, that guy,
he's good linebacker, that depth. And then they go out and get this 6'7", I don't know if he's tied in wide receiver with Wilson out of FSU. But between there, he's going to be a good goal line guy for them. You got Goddard, him. It's going to be, man. The team has no excuse this year, not to win the NFC East and make that Super Bowl push for sure.
Yeah. Definitely. Well, hey, we appreciate you guys rocking with us. We know that it's been a little bit of a longer episode, but I've definitely I've loved every minute of it. I love breaking these draft grades down and getting into into the weeds of everything, and doing a little bit more in depth looks at some of what these teams were able to do. Like I said at the beginning of the video, if we didn't hate your favorite team, hey, we can only do what we can only do. But we appreciate you guys listening to us and rocking with us. Be sure to leave down there in the comments what you would give these teams. What grade would you give these teams that we covered today? Or what do you give your team grade?
Team.
What? Yeah, your team. Leave it down there and do an early prediction. We want to hear the early predictions, the super early predictions for your team after the draft is now behind us. So, but we appreciate you guys rocking with us. If you are still listening, you are the true MVPs. We appreciate you guys because that is the best way to support us, to watch this video all the way through. Be sure to hit that like button. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. Turn on the notification bell so that way you can get all of the notifications for all the videos and content that we put out. We're trying to create more for you guys. So, but we appreciate you guys. Fellas, before we let them go, do you have anything?
I think we kept everyone long enough, man. We appreciate everyone for tuning in.
100%. Put in the comments who you thought was who's the biggest loser of the draft and the biggest winner. Curious to see what you guys think.
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
We always love the comments. And as always, not just on YouTube, but we're on Facebook at the Beard Zone Podcast. We're on Twitter at Beard Zone Pod. And we're also on Instagram at the Beard Zone Football Podcast. Banter. Let us know what you think. Give us a comment, share, like, whatever. Let us know how your team did or did not do. Let us know. That's all we care about, man.
Yep. We always love the banter back and forth with you guys. We appreciate you guys for showing us the love and the support over these past couple of weeks. We've really been seeing a lot more engagement. So we definitely really, really appreciate that. We're going to continue to bring you, content week in and week out. So, but until next week.
Beard Zone out.